Yeah, man, not really. So, LK, this is an idea you proposed, remember?
Yes. So if it all goes wrong, it's my fault.
Katie, surely it can't be that bad, right?
I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think I've got a lot of faith in me. It's going to be no drama.
Okay, and Lauren, what can we expect with you three?
I think a lot of fun. I think half of me going, what did you say, Katie, as I try and understand her accent?
Love that. Try so hard, mate. I'll pronunciate.
To be fair, sometimes I just stare blankly at Katie while she talks to me and I'm like, what? So we're going to both need translations, I think.
You now, LK, where it gets to the end of what I've said and I can see you piecing it together, though.
Yeah, I'm just there like the maths like thing comes in front of my face and I'm like...
This is going to be fun. Do you know what? I'm not even going to press the intros and stuff like that. I'm just going to vacate backstage. Girls, it's over.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, you know, when we started all together there, it was 1-1-1 for the time. So there's a little nice omen for it.
Ooh. Very cool. I like it when things like that happen, where like numbers align and stuff.
I love that.
Well, 11-11's one of those, isn't it, that people look out for? I've got a friend that's got it tattooed on them, actually, on their wrist, 11-11. Yeah.
Wow.
You're meant to be. Very good sign. I like it. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Well, how are my mates? How are you doing, lasses?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Perpetually shattered. But yeah, no, living the dream, loving life. Yeah. How's everyone?
Yeah, good. Dying in the heat, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a little fan next to me that's doing it, and apparently you can't hear it, so that's all good.
That's good.
And just, yeah, I'm shattered for different reasons, LK. Obviously, you have a young child, and therefore, of course, are shattered. And I'm just shattered because work is busy, and then I do too many other things. And keep being like, yes, I'm gonna rest. Because literally leading out of this week with this, I've got things on the next 7 days and nights and stuff. And it's like, there was supposed to be some rest in here. Obviously fun things, but still.
Yeah. It still takes a toll on you, even though you're like, yes, it's fun and I want to go and do it, but I just want to sleep.
Exactly.
Down me, the come down. I think that's what kills it off, because I think when you're there and you're doing everything, it's when you're in it in the next morning.
Oh, yeah, that's it. When you just like, especially if you've got things back to back day, especially when your weekend's full as well, and you're just like, and you've got in at like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, especially after like a show or something.
Yeah.
And then you've got another show the next evening, or maybe a double, and you're just like, I really, really, really love this, and I really, really, really want to go, but I just really, really want to sleep. But is there a way that I can do both? And there isn't.
More time. We just need more time in the day. Not
need like
time.
I need like an extra weekend day.
Yes. Yeah. I would be on board.
What would it begin with an S as well, though?
Yeah. It'd have to be named after like a god, wouldn't it? Because that's what they're all named after.
Yeah.
So some sort of like Nordic or Greek god or something. Oh no, Greek is the calendar months, isn't it? So it'd have to be Nordic. I'm such a geek.
You're in the best kind of way. Those are fun things.
I'm a bit of a Old Norse, Old English nerd.
Very nice, very nice. Interestingly, my other half's just playing God of War, but the Ragnarok one, and obviously that's got the Norse gods and stuff in it. And I quite enjoy watching him play the story games, because you get to see the interesting stuff without any of the work, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to play that in another life. Maybe when I'm like retired, I could just play all the games that I have like always wanted to play.
You do a lot of gaming.
Yeah. What do you play?
Well, I did used to. Well, me and my other half used to love doing Gears of War. We used to do the Horde mode, so we'd like do all the challenges and stuff, and then we'd play through the story. But I did the first 3 Gears, and I did Gears Judgment. I didn't like Gears Judgment at all, because it was just like there's too many cutscenes, and I was there like, but when do we get to the action? It was just really like really sloggy. And then for some reason we just I just never started Gears 4. And obviously there's Gears 5, so I'm totally behind. And then I always wanted to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, because that's like the Vikings and stuff. And I
Yes.
love that. And I never played it. My other half played it. I never did.
Ah.
And then I love playing the Switch, like obviously Animal Crossing. I used to love playing like really silly games, like when you're a food truck and you need to like make the orders for people, and they're getting angry at you because like you're not doing it fast enough.
I know exactly what you mean. Where you have to like press the hamburger and then wait for the
Yeah.
hamburger
Yeah,
on the plate. Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
love
It's so monotonous, but I love it. It's great.
Remember Plants vs Zombies?
Yes.
I love that one. It would be Plants vs Zombies in those cooking games. I used to
Yeah.
have them. Bloody hell! Do you remember when the iPods was like a touch screen, like a phone?
Yeah.
I played on that, and Guitar Hero on the
Oh, Guitar Hero. I used to have that on PlayStation 2, and I used to have the guitar, and it was so good.
I used to prefer playing it with a controller, though. I think because my hands are quite small, it
Mm.
would get a bit of through. Because I remember one who introduced us to it, they gave us the guitar, and
Yeah.
I was like, doof, 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 doof. And then as soon as they went away, and I think they left us to play it, they came back, and I was on the controller, and I was playing.
And then you're there like doing all like the Dragon Force really hard like song and stuff, and it's like, well, that's cheating.
How, when you finally got through Knights of Sidonia, how buzzing you were.
Yeah.
That one, and was it the Beast and the Beauty or something? It's not that. The Beast and the one that properly is so long.
Yeah. Can't remember it though. Can't remember the name. But yeah.
Oh, it's really like riffy, and then kind of goes
Yeah.
and does lots of high pitch, and it goes on forever. And you're literally, like you said, Katie, when you got the controller, you're probably like this, but when you're with the guitar, you'll be like, oh, I've got to keep going really
Yeah. Like the coordination, like that you'd have to have. Like, I think it's harder than playing an actual guitar. I think I'd rather learn guitar than play that. I just get so stressed. And the crowd start booing. Yeah, you're like, ah.
Well, yeah,
Oh yeah.
they do. Yeah, that's
And
always
they're
the thing.
doing like Smashing Pumpkins. I think it's called Today or something.
Yeah.
And it's like really slow, like sloggy.
Yeah.
You're like, and they're like, yeah, this is my speed.
It's finding the right song for you, isn't it? It is just,
Yeah.
is it this? Is it that? I alternate between, we got a PS4 and a Switch, and similarly, Overcooked 2, lots of
Overcooked.
cooking and throwing
Yeah.
stuff around. Just nice. I like a lot of puzzle games, so do a fair amount of them and
Yeah.
get really absorbed. So I've just on the PS4 started playing Myst, which is like from the 90s or 2000s, and it's like a
Yeah.
bit of a point and click. But you properly like go all these places. I'm taking pictures and making notes that when I come back later,
I love it.
and like you said, you feel so geeky, like, yeah, but I'm going to need that later. And I did.
Yeah.
I got to a bit of a clock and I was like, yep, got those notes. Yeah, great.
Yeah. It's like when I used to play Skyrim and I'd pick up everything. Like, and then when I needed energy, I'd just eat a load of cheese wheels. And I'd just like to lighten my load. And when I needed like stamina and stuff, and it was just like, I'd pick up everything. I'd pick up like a fork. I'd like, well, I don't know if I need this.
I couldn't. I remember me. Like I think it was too. I don't think I'm good with too puzzly. I like tiny
Yeah.
little thing too puzzly, and I just want to throw the console out the window.
Yeah, like I tried to play, and this is like, and my other half was just like, this is sacrilege, like that you can't get your head around like the Legend of Zelda games, but it was no, it wasn't. It was Wind Waker.
Okay.
I just couldn't get past this bit, and I was just like, I hate this so much. Like, why can't I do it? And my other half was like, sacrilege that you can't even play like a simple Zelda game. I was like, it's too hard. I can't do it.
Everyone's different though. Like my other half's less good at puzzles, but he likes some of the games with them. So he'll be playing and I'll like be observing, and then he'll like look at me and I'll be like, do you want my help? Do this, do this, do this. Because I just have a bit more of a knack, but I don't want to help until he's ready, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, turn this. Oh, have you thought about this kind of thing?
Yeah.
So yeah. Not
You've definitely got
everyone's
that
brain
mind. Whereas I'm just like, if it's not staring me in the face, if it's not screaming at me, I'm just like, I don't know, not a clue.
We've got comments in the chat.
Oh yeah. Do they just come up? Or do I have to
Yes.
click the chat? Oh,
No.
comment.
The comments all the
Oh.
time. So I think that was just him asking about Katie's gamer rage. Why?
No.
Yeah. So yeah, Liam said, "Why do I feel Katie has gamer rage?" I think you do.
No, it's from Wrestle Wellbeing.
Yeah.
There's two. Yeah. Oh, no, there's one. Sorry, but yeah. Sorry. Yeah, it's come up twice for me.
Specific aspects of being a wrestling referee that you've each found to be mentally challenging. How did you overcome those challenging? What?
Oh, good question.
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's come up now. Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, and I've got a good one to go. I've got it.
Go on.
Go on then.
You tell your story, Katie.
I have real ADHD. I got diagnosed quite young. It is extreme. I don't know if you can tell. If we've met 5 minutes, you'll know it, right? Let's be honest. But and stuff, and being told something once and having that in there is insane. It's like, honestly, you've got to hyper focus. You've got to focus on this one thing. But and it used to stress us out loads because I feel like I used to learn too much of the match, whereas now you really don't need to learn everything. Do you know? Use a little. We've all done it, and that has helped loads. But beforehand, I used to feel like I used to need to remember every step, but in reality, I couldn't remember. Like, I couldn't remember how old I was at a drop of a hat. Like that.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't most of the time I couldn't remember where I was. So it was a lot of shaving off everything that I had to remember because I used to stress myself out so much being like, but you don't understand my brain and I only do a tiny little bit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably the ADHD side of remembering stuff and then staying bloody focused in the ring. But
that was
I do think that I used to be quite bad, but not in the sense of not paying attention. It was more just like not being able to keep the straight face and be like, that's mint. Did you see that? Like, it's not that extreme, obviously. But yeah. So not ADHD, but you figure it out. Like you just as well.
Yeah.
Promise.
Yeah, you figure out your own ways of doing stuff. Everyone does it completely differently. You find it when you meet obviously people from down the country and you work with different referees and how so different everyone's brain works and stuff. Like I used to want to retain every single piece of the match and I was like, I'm gonna forget the bits I need to know because they're gonna push it out and then I'm not doing the match, so why am I remembering every single beat of it? And then like I just need to know my main bits. And then I think as I got more experience with remembering like the bits I need to remember, then I could start remembering little bits for like feeding back if like they were like they needed a bit of help or whatever. But it didn't happen like that often. But yeah, I remember going back to Katie smiling at things and being like, "Oh, cool!" in like mid-match. I always remember Rich because Rich Swift told me about Katie before, like, and also Chris Sharp as well. And we kind of like got like I got to know about her first before I met her, and he was just like, "But she laughs," and I'm like, "Oh my god, what?" It's just so funny.
It was just so exciting. Like, honestly, I think it spiraled out of control. I think in my head, I thought I was going to be training for about 3 years before I'd even be doing a 1, 2, 3 in the ring. So I think it spiraled so fast. It was the most fun I'd ever had. I just like, just started to like live life again properly and all that stuff, And so it was just the most exciting thing in the world. And I was like, this is fucking mint right now.
It's so interesting though what you say about thinking that you'll train for ages, because there are now training schools for refereeing, but like when I started, I went to a seminar with Tom Scarbs and he mainly talked to us and went, all right, so you're just going to have a practice of a 2-minute match. And then that was kind of it. And so just kind of went some wrestling training and like practicing rest stuff at that wrestling training. And then the only real way to learn was to do. So you kind of do some practice matches and then you did a bit of a student show. And then when the promotion I was at kind of disappeared, I reached out to a couple other promotions, and London School of Lucha Libre were like, yeah, you could come train. And then literally 2 days later, we're like, we've got a show on Sunday. Do you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then you're just doing it, going, oh, I'm hoping for the best, that I'm going to do everything I need to from that perspective. And it's really funny because from that, Dan from Eve was there, saw me and was like, well, would you like to come and like, I'll give you some matches at Eve and we'll develop you and stuff. But again, it's all learning by doing. So you're right, Katie. You think, oh, well, I'll do all this training and then I'll go in, and you don't. You just kind of like, well, I'm learning as I go, and not everything will go right, and some of it will go wrong. And that's in that mentally prepared question. The bit for me is when something goes wrong in a match and I mentally am beating myself up inside so much, and you've got the whole rest of the match to go, and so you're trying to like just focus on that. With the inside, you're like, oh god, that's gone wrong, depending on what it is. And then I can be quite hard on myself afterwards, to the point that once I was really just upset with myself the way something had gone, and my other half at the time lived in Jersey, and apparently got a message from Dan, the promoter of Eve, going, could you just check in on Lauren, because she's really being hard on herself, and I think she just needs some support, because you're there for the match, and you're one part of that match, and you want it to go well, and if it doesn't, I properly internally really beat myself up over it.
Yeah, I used to beat myself up a lot, and that is one of my apprehensions about, because you've got to make the mistakes to obviously learn from them, and then like you've got to do it, and you've got to do it on a show where there's people watching you and there's people booing you and saying like, ref, you're rubbish. Well, worse than that, and we're not allowed to swear, but I can't remember what I got called, but apparently I got called some names. I didn't hear it because I just thought it was funny, and I'm glad I thought it was funny. I must have been having a good day, because there's times where I've gone backstage and cried and just been like, one time was really bad. I just literally like, as soon as, because it was really bad because it had gone so wrong that like I had to stay obviously ringside until everyone had left, until all the rest of them had left, and I was just welling up, and I just thought, oh my god, like I just want to burst into tears. This is like the worst thing ever. And as soon as I could leave, I literally made a beeline I just went through the curtain and I went outside, and it was a Future Shock actually, and Bailey was like, just let it go. It's like, oh, so bad. It was so bad. I wanted the ground to swallow me up. It was awful. And so yeah, like, and that was quite early on as well. And when things went wrong, like sort of later in the game, and I was a bit more prepared and stuff, I still beat myself up, but the tears, like I was a lot stronger. The tears didn't come. I just used to like play really loud music on the way back. If I dropped people off as well, like wait until obviously they'd gone, and then just play really loud heavy metal on the way home, just not speeding down the motorway, but maybe doing 75. Just wanting to get home and just being like, I can't do this. So yeah,
I definitely beat myself up as much as I used to, but it haunts us now. There's a big difference. Like, when you're in the shower and you're thinking about everything and like just life, so you'll be like soaking up yourself, and then you'll remember something you did, and you're like, the horror comes over, and then you're like, oh no, forget it. It happened like 2 years ago. No one remembers. But like mine keeps popping up a bit like that. Oh, what's that? We may have. Oh,
I think the bit about speeding.
Yeah,
I didn't get you in trouble there, okay?
Sorry, I'm incriminating myself. There was no cameras. It's fine.
Was it a good
Anyway, so evidently we can't talk about anything we want, Liam.
No problem.
Moving on, let's have a look at I don't think there was anything else. Any comments? Oh yeah, I suppose. Wrestler well-being again. I'd love to have each of you on my channel to talk about your journey into wrestling and also your mental health battles and triumphs. I'll get Liam to give you guys my details. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Oh,
absolutely, I definitely think that's I think it came up for LK before it came up for us because she was reading it before it popped up on the bottom of my
Sorry,
screen.
I was having a look at the comments. I was just like, oh, anything else? Quick, let's move on.
Oh, I see. I've got I don't have that bit up, but I definitely think mental health in wrestling is talked about more now.
Yeah,
But definitely is one of those topics that definitely needs to be spoken about more. I think not just within what people are doing in wrestling, but outside of it, and just things have luckily, I think, moved on from that bit around in wrestling. You just get on with stuff, whether that's in the match and you've injured yourself or whether that's mental health, and actually seeing quite prominent wrestlers, like Ridgeway, be like, right, I'm stepping away from some of my bookings for my mental health, I think is really good to see, to be like, actually, I've got to prioritize the person behind the wrestler. Otherwise, I'm not going to put on the show I want, and I'm going to detrimentally impact myself. And I think that's really good to see from someone like that.
Yeah, because
definitely.
everyone says it's like, health and family first. It's cool to see people doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's it. Definitely.
Actions are always louder than words, for sure.
Yeah, that's it. Because you think you're alone, but everyone actually struggles. The more that you open up, the more that you find that there's a lot of people that actually struggle with the same thing. And you're like, oh, I'm not actually alone, which is it's really nice. Just have solidarity with other people, especially when you're working with them and you just that they might be going through some bits, and then it helps you bond as well. I think a bonding moment. But we had some Instagram ones, didn't we? That we thought of. I'll have to. Hopefully, this won't.
If I look, I'll
make
not.
my.
We did.
This might make me go away.
I know. Well, as
Sorry.
Lauren.
Sorry, say that again, Katie.
Are you on a computer, Lauren?
I am on a computer. That is correct.
You do.
Yes. So we said scariest moments in a match/matches.
Oh hell. I don't want to talk about people's injuries because it was horrible. Bless them. Injuries are definitely one of those scary ones, just in terms of when different bits happen. Just seeing people injured.
We just do it generally, because don't have to say specific people, but there's been a few where I've been like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
This is really bad. This is really, really bad. This is really bad. Stay calm. This is bad. This is bad. And that's why your referee should be first aid trained, but you should also have another first aider on hand and not just the referee.
Yes, for sure, because you're also trying to, as much as you're being a first aider in that moment, you're also dealing with, you're in a role and there's many things you're trying to consider. And even with first aid training, you only have a certain level. It's great to have that level and really important. But that's why I think if shows they should have a proper paramedic, because that makes
definitely.
I don't know this. Are they proper expensive? I don't know the answer. This is just the first time I've ever thought of it.
Yeah. I don't think they're too bad from that perspective.
3.5 hours.
Say that again?
Not thousands for a couple of hours. I really don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite that much. I think it helps what I find is when people get paramedics, they quite often get people, and that person keeps coming back, and they do it as a bit of a side on their paramedic job, because then they get to know about wrestling as well, and so get a bit of a sense around a level of injury. That sounds really funny to say, but when I often say to paramedics in we might get a bit of a broken finger or something. That's okay, and it's not, because obviously someone's hurt themselves, but the wrestler will tell you in match, I think I've hurt my finger, I'm fine, I'm going to finish the match, versus you can tell someone's taken a bump that might be a concussion, and you've got to make that call in ring about whether you let them continue or whether you're calling it at that point from that perspective. And I did recently have to do that, where someone it was hard to tell what kind of knock they'd taken, and I was like, are you okay? And they were like, as I said, look, I can call this. Yeah, I'm fine. And then they did a couple more things. They were slow on a couple of kickouts. So on the second slow one, I hit the mat and I counted it, and it was the right finish, as in the person up, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. And I could see the person went 2, and I was like, it's a 3. And we spoke about backstage, because obviously the wrestler was annoyed, not necessarily with me, because the match didn't go out they planned. They feel disappointed. That's quite standard. But I was talking to the other wrestler, and he said, I thought the same. I thought he was a bit slow, and I was asking if he was okay, and he wasn't giving me much response. I said, exactly. We did the right thing. We therefore turned out didn't have a concussion, but you just don't know, and you've got to make that tough decision when you're in the ring for that person's safety.
No, I love you for doing that, Lauren. That's class.
Yeah.
It's still scary in the moment for sure, because you are worried, are you ruining a match that maybe, you know, they would have been fine, but, you know, and I think it always helps when the promoters support you and they're like, great, you made the right call, safety first. You're like, fantastic. That's what we want from that perspective. And obviously more's known about concussions now, because I've done matches where I wasn't sure, and then after, like, and I haven't called it after, they've kind of gone, you really should have called that. You're like, well, I was asking them and they were answering. I've also had where I wasn't sure and they did a pin, and I told the person being pinned, don't kick out. I was like, just make this the finish. And the person that was pinning them and was a bit concussed, I think, was like, kick out. So the second wrestler kicked out. And you're like, oh, no, I said, just finish this. You know, when you're trying to end it nicely. And I was just like, oh. So I think all of those, and again, that one, as in the one where I'm trying to finish it, was quite early on. And I think now I'm a bit more like, look, I'll make the call and I'll take the fall, because that's the right thing. That person's safety is the number one thing.
Yeah, you've got to have the confidence to make these calls as well. That's probably one of the hardest things, actually, going back to that question, is that one of the most challenging things is to make really tough calls, because you're afraid that they're going to be mad at you, basically. But in the big leagues, you obviously do have the backing of the producers and things. But you'd hope that on the indies you'd have the backing of the promoter, and and like, you've just got to have that confidence just to call it, and just to keep communicating, like you say, like, just with them, and just trying to coax it into a finish. But if they're really adamant that, you know, they don't want to, but you can see, because when you're in it, I think if you're only slightly concussed as well, you probably don't think that you are concussed. You probably just think, oh, you know, because the adrenaline's running and you're not getting the symptoms if you're just slightly concussed. If you've really rung your bell, you know it. And then that's when, obviously, we've got to make that really hard decision. But in the heat of the moment, it's got to be like, you know, because the more concussions you get, obviously, the more it damages the brain and has a knock-on effect for the rest of their lives. And it's not something that we as good referees, like, could have on our conscience, like, you know, that we let a match run. And I think that's like a good argument if, like, you know, a wrestler is a bit, you know, disappointed with the way that it went, and obviously, you know, emotions run high and things, and I think, like, that's a good argument, just to be like, look, I want you to be able to do this for as long as you want to do it. I don't want you to be going and having to take time, ages off, because, you know, you've had after effects of a really bad concussion and you push through. So it's just like looking out and just looking after the people you work with, isn't it? And that's one big aspect of our job, but that's really hard, is just to make the right calls and to look after people when they do silly things.
I'll back you up on that one. Absolutely.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because the more you work with people, the more you know about them and their injuries and the way they work. You know, I've got a wrestler that I know has an ongoing back concern that always is hurting. And we've got this good relationship where I'm like, look, I need you to tell me, like, if it properly hurts, like, because I know you're going to sell it and you're going to be doing that pain, but when it goes over that line, you've got to tell me. And they do. And so that's why one of the questions I ask every wrestler is, are you carrying any injuries right now? Because quite often people are, and that can be really helpful from the perspective of just knowing, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I have a little bit of a broken rib. So if you could maybe check, you know, they'll sometimes tell, could you check on me when this spot happens and this spot? Because it might have a bigger impact. Or I've just recovered from injury. So if you see me twinge my knee, maybe check on me. I've found that's a question I've added later in my career into my repertoire of questions when I'm chatting with a match, because I just find it's such a helpful one in terms of they're not going to tell you, but if you ask, oh yeah, well actually, oh yeah, I've, you know, I knocked my elbow or I did this, and it's, oh yeah, it's pretty all right. Okay, but thanks for letting me know. You know you then, especially when you work with people regularly, you know what their selling looks like and what real, like, oh, that looks a bit nastier is.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like why you've got to build a good relationship with your wrestlers, because then you can read things before even they've even realized something might have gone a bit awry. And because there's some wrestlers that are so good at selling that early on, when I was working with them, I was checking on them legit like all the time. And then the more that I realized that they're just really good at selling, I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. And then if something had happened where they don't act like that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's real. That really did actually, that's really bad. So yeah, it's just reps in it and just getting a relationship with them and things.
Especially if they're selling an injury they've had before. Like someone that previously had a knee injury and their selling of it was so good. And in the match kept being, are you sure you were right? And after, I even tapped the paramedic on the way out. When did you just check? And they were like, no, it's just I know what that pain feels like, so I know how to sell it. And I was like, well, you were selling it to me because I was absolutely taking it.
That's the thing. They like work us as well. And we're like, are you actually okay? Like, I'm really concerned.
Sure, I've asked a few times, like, are you selling? Like, no, I've done that. In fact, I've no idea with an injury. I can't remember where it was though. But you know, when you, like you were saying, you just get used to working with people in that. And I remember thinking, like, the bump looked bad. It didn't look horrific, but you're selling completely different to how I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
Legit, it was bad, bless him.
Yeah.
And it was all, I want to see from it happening, the match finished to him getting to a paramedic as well. So, well, I'm paramedic.
Yeah, they absolutely can be a lifesaver in these things and just really help from that perspective.
But while it's in my head, I'm really sorry to like jump around, but I'm dying to know what your favourite match you've done at Eve is. Honestly, it's been itching to ask you all day.
Oh God. Oh.
How is it about being with all the girls?
No, I know. No, it is wonderful to be with all the girls and have that kind of environment where it is everyone from that perspective. You're all girls from that. And obviously you get promotions to the odd show here and there, but when it's the week, you know, the month in, month out, and you build up your storylines and stuff. And, you know, it can be tough to pick a favourite match, because my memory's shoddy. So if I'd have known, I might have prepped. But I think when you see people that have been working, you've seen them on their journey and then they like win a belt or something. So it's always really nice when I get an opportunity to present some of their belts. So Nightshade recently won the championship. And so to get to referee that and be the person that gives them the belt is like, and like, you know, Katie, when you were like, oh, I'm really smiley or I'm laughing, and you're like, right, I need to like set properly ref this and be nice. Because early on, I refereed a tag match for Eve where Jetta and Erin Angel won the tag belts, and Erin like hugged me, and I was just so pleased for her, so I hugged her back. Yeah, I was so pleased for you stuff. And then when I got backstage, Tom was like, so you shouldn't, you know, you should do that backstage. You should hug the talent backstage because you know, you're supposed to be doing the ref bit. And he was so nice about it because obviously he said you're doing a job and you're supposed to be neutral and stuff. And I was like, I'm sorry, she hugged me. I was really pleased for her. So now I try and be a bit more like, and then backstage you're like, oh, big hugs. Because so obviously the last show we had, Alice Windsor had her match with Cherie, and then she announced that she was going to AEW, and none of us backstage knew. So we literally went just going, and this is going to be my last match for a while in the UK. And we're going, where's she going? Is she going to Japan? Because obviously she'd been fighting for the New Japan belt, and she was like, because I'm all elite, and literally all backstage, I've been like, I'm so excited for her. And then she comes back through the curtain, and we all mob her, and we're like, you know, hugging her and just really mob happy with her from that perspective. Because she kept it pretty quiet. And so you do get that. You get a lot of sharing, and a bit like we were talking earlier about, you know, what's going on with people, some of the stuff going on in their personal life and how you can support it. And just, you know, a little bit of checking in. Like Millie McKenzie really likes frog things. So every now and then I send a little frog picture or a little meme. She fucking loves frogs.
I mean, stay there. In fact, right?
Yeah.
Flip ever gets to her. No, I'll start again. Sorry. At North, I was wearing a frog t-shirt, right? And I was key. I love this frog. I've got the frog on my wall. I actually really do have the frog on my wall. I love the frog.
Yeah, I've got a shirt that's got little frogs on, and I remember being like, "Where did you buy it?" Really like frogs. So if I'm ever, if you're on your Instagram or something, and I see a silly, oh hello,
Elvis, hi, buddy. Ah, he's got a blanket. Is that a Pikachu blanket?
oh, yours.
Buddy. Oh, did you Jojo?
So good next to me. So I'm gonna.
Oh,
He's so
I didn't even know
beautiful.
you had a dog sneaky beside you. I'd have been like, bring him on earlier.
Full time.
He's so cute. Oh, I just want to cuddle him so bad. I just want to be cuddled.
I'll bring him to see you soon, mate.
Yeah. Please do.
How was he doing in the heat?
Oh, mate, he's a total sun worshiper.
Yeah.
Bless
No,
him.
I'm not taking him out. Don't worry. It's too hot for me anyway. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Love it. He would lie and he would roast and he would roll around like a rotisserie chicken and he would be so happy, honestly. He's such a sun worshipper.
Bless
Aw.
him. I suppose Chihuahuas are they from Mexico, Chihuahuas? So I suppose he's used to it being really hot, maybe. Maybe it's in his genes.
Like there's actually a place called Chihuahua.
There isn't there?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
A Chihuahua's from Chihuahua.
they've got to be, right?
They've got to be.
They've got to be. Find
We
out.
have to Google this afterwards.
They've got to be.
Oh dear. Because I made the mistake of pressing back a bit too much, and that's why I disappeared. So
Oh, I did wonder what happened to you. You disappeared, and we carried on. I was like, she'll reappear.
yeah, just
So
carry on. I'll be back. I'll Arnie it. I'll be back. Oh
Aw.
dear. What was the we had a couple of other questions and stuff.
Yes,
What was our list?
While I'm looking for it, or what I was going to say is obviously, as she was saying, it's really nice to be in an all women's promotion and stuff. But it's so rare that as referees we get to be like an all women team either, apart from if it's like a specific show and they decide, oh, we'll get all women for the all women show, and it's like, no, I'd like to work with the girlies more. I know there's not enough of us, and we're spread a bit. Because I sometimes say to, I've mentioned to Dan, he's like, well, so they're quite north, and they're not bringing the talent down. And obviously, when you get your regular refs as well, as you do in every promotion, you get your regular refs, so then it's a bit harder to like segue in and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's just like if Eve were bringing talent down more regularly from the north, then Dan would probably be like, oh yeah, let's get a female from wherever that pocket of wrestlers are going. But it's just it was lovely at Resurgence, Lauren, when it was me and you. Oh, that was amazing. That was such good times. Like, I miss Resurgence.
Oh, we miss you too. It was really early days as well. And I remember, I'm pretty sure I slightly pissed you off because we were like prepping for like show. And I remember it stuck with me now to a point that
Oh no! Don't dump me in it! Oh no!
It was me. What it was we were like talking about like maybe corners and how the match would be, and I'd be like, okay, come stand here, and then you can like. And I was mentally visualizing it, and I think you processed differently. And you're like, no,
I did. I couldn't understand it. Oh no! Oh, I just couldn't. I just couldn't get it, and I was like, Laura, what are you talking about?
Yes, exactly. And I remember being like, oh, maybe I was being bossy. Oh no, I thought I was being helpful. Maybe I was just
bless you. No, like honestly, like I think I got stressed at the fact that I couldn't understand. I was like, and because it was all new and everything, and it was probably one of the first promotions that I'd done outside of like the Northwest, so I was really nervous. And then I think the nerves, I was just like, my brain doesn't work. Oh my god! Oh, just like I just can't do this. Oh,
I thought I was really bossy, so I was like, "Oh no, I've overstepped," and I thought I was being helpful and stuff because I think we worked on a headset it, and you were used to headsetting it, and I was like, "No, just use your watch."
Oh yeah, and I was like, "No, not a watch, you heathens!"
Yes, you were, because you were like, "It ruins the look," and I was like, "Yeah." And I always started with a watch. It's only later that even now for a couple of motion headset, but I work with a watch quite a lot because that's just how it is. I mean, really early days, you literally looked at someone in the corner and they went, 2.
Yeah, like sort of like miming, like one of these.
Over here it's 2 to go kind of thing.
Or there was like a
But,
clock on the wall, and you just look at
yeah.
the clock.
Oh, I love that. Fuck.
And then now it's all headsets. Yeah, I'm definitely a lot more flexible these days. It was just because I was new and I was like, but the headset, no. Like I'm so rigid in my thinking. And then I've like had to be more like go with the flow, because then things are easier once you go with the flow.
Yeah.
So-
Have you always headsetted at KT, or have you watched it?
Well, hear me out, right? Just like LK, I started full headset. I was like, I'm lost without my headset. Give me this headset, glue this to my ear. But now, if I'm being honest, I think the majority of the time I'm body clocking.
Yeah.
It's just happened that way. It's not
Yeah.
it wasn't a preference to start, but now I'm like, to be honest, it doesn't really. You kind of just get used to it.
Yeah.
I prefer
Like-
like it's like a TV time thing or something. Like I prefer having the times in there because we're trying to keep it to such and such.
Yes.
Like you're live, you get cut off on Triller after a certain point if you go over.
Oh, you will do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will. So you have to like keep to a time, yeah.
Yeah, but most of the time, so like at Win and stuff like that with Rich, he's got with body clocking, and like I'm just kind of used to it now.
Yeah, so by body clocking, do you mean that you're just doing your internal clock? You're not even got a watch on?
Oh, that's impressive. I definitely
That's
don't
really
have that.
impressive. Yeah, because that's a skill that like I still can't. Because the thing is, when I wear a watch, I forget to press start.
Yeah,
And then I'm like, so this is why I don't like wearing a watch, because I'm like, oh, and I like panic. So I need to like, because it's body clocking is also really, really a useful thing to do if the person who's meant to be giving you times doesn't give you times, or the headset doesn't work, or
Yeah.
something goes wrong, and it's like, yeah, that's a really good skill to have.
yeah. It's just been pretty much every week of training for a while now. It's been like shoot pinning, body clocking matches, like that kind of thing. And I think
Yeah.
at Win, got Stevie Aaron who's taking the times anyway. We know how long we've got, and then it's kind of fun to see. And I'm not going to lie, the last Win we all did pretty good. I think the
Hey.
closest one was Sandy with like 13 seconds off. I think like
Wow.
seconds off, and I think I might have been like, I think my short like closest one was like 25 seconds off. So I like honestly, I'll brag about that one because I've got it on paper. That is the only one
Yeah.
I've bang on for. But yeah, honestly, it's just came off Rich's training like every week.
Amazing.
But no, big up Rich. And Rampage is, how was training? How was I don't know, mate. I've only been doing this 2 years now. What about you, Lauren?
Yeah, Lauren can shed a
well-
bit of light on this, I think.
Yeah, I guess, and this is why I think it's interesting to see from your two perspectives as well, in terms of like training schools and that, because as I said earlier, I went to a seminar and then I started going to like wrestling training, but it wasn't set for the ref. So basically, you do the warm up, and then occasionally they might do, oh well, we'll get you to get involved in this bit, or get you to get involved in this bit, and then you'd be sat out the rest of it. So after a while, I just started doing all of the training because it felt like the right thing to do. One, to just get to know it, get to know what moves look like and stuff. And then a lot of my learning of what to do as a ref was in ring from that perspective and from feedback from others. And so it's been really nice to see over the years, like Greenwood set up to do actual, like his school, do actual classes and stuff.
Yeah.
You'd have occasionally a seminar. So I've been a few different seminars, I did a Rev Pro one, which is how I met Tom from Riptide, and then I started working Riptide and doing some of their pre-show and that. I've done a couple of others. Of course, as I said, I started with Tom's just from I went with a friend for a bit of a laugh, and then was like, oh, actually, I might keep doing this, because that was in my early 30s. Because I know I don't look it, but I'm 41, so
No.
yeah.
Lauren, no, you're not. Shut up. What? Oh my goodness. No, you honestly don't look it. Like, I'm not even putting like smoke up your bum. Like,
When they're talking wrestling, they're like late 20s, early 30s, like 40 never comes up, because half the time I'm like, I could be your mum. And I used to say that when I first started, when I went first going to training, and they used to have the kids class before, and some parents were like, oh, you're here to pick your kid up. And I was like, no. And then I realized, oh God, if they are 13, 14, I could be their mum. And now I'm like,
Oh God.
well, if I had you at 16, you could be like 25 and I'm your mum. So-
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is wild. Wild.
So I would like to hear a little bit more about like what training has been for the two of you, like going into classes and stuff, because I think that's the right thing to do. I think it's really important to be trained properly as a referee and not just pull a trainee in or something like that, based on a lot of the things we spoke about earlier. But I'd love to hear a bit more about kind of your training experiences.
Yeah. So
Wanna go?
yeah. So like it probably because it'll go chronologically because Lauren, me, Katie. So there still wasn't a training school when I started. And I messaged God, this is what pregnancy does to you guys. The brain just goes, oh my word, honestly. James Drake.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness. Like I couldn't think of his last name. Oh my God. I messaged him because he Fighting Spirit was still up and running. And because I on my podcast from the first time I did it, I didn't know there was an indie scene. I didn't know where these people came from. I just thought they appeared on WWE television, like on NXT. I had no clue. So when it was NXT UK and then the commentators were saying about the Fighting Spirit training school, I was like, oh, the cogs were turning. And I thought, oh, because I really loved I thought I could never wrestle, but I could, referee. So I contacted him. He said that, you'll do like the basic wrestling training and then we'll help you, we'll help coach you in the refereeing, which would have obviously been where I would have met Greenwood prematurely. Although me and Greenwood have met before in about 2010, but we didn't know it. That's a story for another day.
Yes, that is.
That's a story for another one of these. But yeah, and then it would have been a case of like you, Lauren, where they would have we would have done a few training spots, probably with the advanced where they do match class and things. Like I would have been doing that. I would have done my basic training, but then obviously it turned, COVID happened and then, their school had to unfortunately close. So then he recommended Future Shock to me. I did the basic training and then I carried on doing wrestling training. I would do the intermediates on a Saturday. And then if we would do little matches, I would referee the mini matches.
Nice.
And then on a Wednesday, I'd come to the intermediate class and wrestle, and then poorly, by the way. And then I would, then there was an advanced class straight after, and I would do the drills badly with them. And then I'd referee their practice matches. And then eventually we had a match class dedicated to it. And then eventually Greenwood did his thing. So, yeah.
Lovely. Lovely. And don't worry. I mean, every referee has a match in them somewhere, and it will probably happen at some point. Two, you know what I mean? Forward rolls and stuff, wonderful. My backwards roll, no, I just go over one shoulder. I even go gymnastics now, and every time they're like pushing, I'm like, it just won't do it. Just rubbish.
Yeah,
roll.
I can't do the handstand one, and I can't go. I end up putting one knee down, and then one leg goes down, but not both legs will go down. I just can't move that way. I just can't.
I'm terrified of lucha rolls.
I used to quite like them because obviously I'm tall. So my lucha rolls were never really. I had to sort of make my rolls more small, and then if I just did a normal roll, it just end up looking like a lucha roll. But I'd be petrified now. Oh my goodness, I won't be able to do it.
I seen an injury, it was very fluke. It was similar of that kind of movement in training, and it freaked us out so much because it was teeth. And the first time I got in to do rolls, after that, I got jelly legs going to do.
No.
Can't do it because I'm so scared I'll mess it up, kind of thing.
Bless you. I know it's one of those where once you've seen something happen, I think that's why the more I've seen as a referee, like,
The more you
yeah,
don't-
there's definitely going to be one match in me, but it's not going to be spectacular, I don't think, because I'm just scared. I've seen too much.
there'll not be a match in me. Honestly, there is no way. I'm too.
You say that now.
Oh, there
Katie.
is. You
There
say,
is.
yeah, you say this now.
Yeah.
Could not take that whatsoever. Like it would be a nightmare. I'd end up it would not be good. However, I have genuinely had zero interest in me ever wrestling. I don't want to. I just want to ref.
Fair.
You know what I
No,
mean?
and that's fair. Honestly.
Not being the center of attention, but being there and having the best seat and like getting in. Like I don't want it. Like I'll do like a quick little like hello or whatever, but that's as far as it'll go to that. I'm a bit like, oh please no.
I hate if
Yeah.
Mike gets put in front of me. I'm like, no, I ref to not speak. What? Someone else should be doing the talking.
Yeah. It's like we are the silent participant, apart from we have to
Yeah.
shout at people. But
That's
when
what
you're
I said,
shouting
yeah,
at
but when it's
people,
like-
it's fine.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
It is, because you're part of the action and you're part of like the three, you know, the three person dance in a way. But when it's just you on your own, you're like, oh no, I don't speak. I
Like,
don't talk.
I'm fine to be thrown out and talk to anyone in general. It does not bother us at all. But like the thought of being the focal point of the room, I'm like, absolutely not. Like
No, scary. Too
No,
scary.
while it's in my head as well before, because we're running out of time, you know.
I know.
I'll tell you, Lauren, how I got started, because I think
Yes,
it's
thank
Yes,
you.
go
Yes.
on. Yeah, we
I
need to
think-
hear yours.
right. So I went back to the Indies after COVID, everything like that. I went to North. I was with Raz. I was stood there and I was watching Rich, who's now coach, and I was like, God, I want to do this so much. I told Raz, she took us round the back, introduced us to HT Drake, who just put a ref through Ross, through his schools there a little bit. And I was mostly like you, like learning like the basics, like the rules, etc., etc. And then Greenwood session, that one came about. So I went to a Greenwood session, met everyone at Future Shock. Loved the time. But I actually have to admit, I learned so much. And then after that, it was Rampage's school had opened up and Rich Swift was there. And so it was like, it went from being at one Greenwood session every 6 weeks and having like 4 hours on a coach there, 4 hours back, which I would do anytime because I loved going.
Aw.
Just meant that like 20 minutes down the road, it's like pretty much one-on-one training with Rich at Rampages. And it was like, mind completely blown, like what the hell. And can't forget about how much help that I've got from Scott Bell as well, like throughout everything he's had with back, and he's been given with feedback, like whether we've been on shows with him, whether it's been just post-match, and he's been watching it and telling we're just like Scott and Rich changed the game, and LK helped so much too, really good.
Ah.
You know you did. Yeah.
I tried.
But I'm really lucky. Like I think the timing with everything, like it was just bizarre how everything worked out. Like start here in they've just put a ref through. Yep, no problem. A few months go by, Rich opens with Rampage. It's like bloody hell, you can't make this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then-
that's fab.
Well, that's his.
That's
And
so
then look
wonderful,
at-
though. And you're right, that feedback's really important. I wouldn't be where I was today without Tom Scarborough, because he, you know, he refereed Eve. And so I spent all that time, and he would always give me feedback on my matches and stuff. And obviously, as you all know for yourself, you have to start small, because if you gave every piece of feedback, it'd be overwhelming. And you just build it up over time, don't you?
Yeah.
And those things make such a difference. And it's so nice when you work with a different referee as well. You know, I've had the pleasure of working with Scott, but I think only once. And when you see someone else's style as well, because we all kind of have a little bit of our own style from that perspective. And it's really nice you'll pick a little thing like, oh, that's a really good way to do that. Oh, that's a really good way. Oh, I might add that's a good phrase to say. Oh, I'll pick that
Oh
up.
yeah, love that. I definitely like picking up phrases and stuff that like, especially like speaking of Tom, like he's so good with verbiage.
Yeah.
Like he's literally like, I steal so much from him. I'm like, taking that, definitely taking that. Like every progress show, I'll be like, taking that, because he's just so good.
Progress do tags for his verbiage. He's tag verbiage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Honestly, like I've even like when I used to watch him on NXT UK, and I'd message him and just be like, that, like the way you've said that is just like, and then I used to go back and watch it for like tape study just on my own, and I bet he was like, oh my god, please don't watch it. But it's like, no, like your verbiage is so good. I'm literally like taking notes of like what you say and stuff, because I don't know what to say. Like, what do I say that doesn't sound repetitive all the time?
Especially for tag matches and submissions, you're like, right, I'm trying to keep it active, keep changing it up for submissions. And
Yeah.
when you hear someone else say something like, oh, I can add that to my little repertoire of phrases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah.
adds up.
Oh, yeah, that's yeah, just like it's so cool, like that we've got so many like amazing referees in this country, like to learn from as well.
Ah.
There's like a plethora of like, you can literally go to any corner of the country and just be like, you learn something completely new, and you're like, oh, I can just use that, or I can tweak that, and like this country's got like such good referees. Like, we're so lucky to learn from them.
It's a real privilege, and something that I think, and it's really nice because I like to see, especially with you like up north, you have a real bundle of you together and stuff. And I was like, oh, look at them coming along. And if I work with someone that's come out of one of the schools and is New Orleans, and they'll talk to me, and I'll be like, oh, hi, and you love hearing how they're doing, and like you simulate. I'm like, have you got any feedback? And I try and be good to remember feedback. You know, sometimes you're busy, so you might have been in and out and not.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, if you can watch it back, you're like, yeah, I'll do my best. But I think the people coming through are really good at asking for feedback as well. Like, have you got anything to add? Is there anything you notice? Because they similarly want to continue to improve, as I think we all do. Like, there's always things you can tweak and just, you know, keep going up and up. And I look at some of the others and go, you're a better referee than me. And not in a bad way, almost like I know my level. And I also know that for me, this is, you know, I have quite a high level shoot job. So I know that this is not something that then I want to get signed for or something. And I know there are others that are. And I see the work they put in and that level from that perspective. And I'm like, I can see you're honing everything with that hope that hopefully in the future you'll get to properly like do this full time or contract and stuff. And, you know, you hope for the best for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. It's a nice way to sort of start wrapping it up, isn't it, as well?
What did Liam say? We'd be like, right, bye.
Oh, yeah, we're just like, okay, bye. It's like, no, we have to do a little outro.
What?
I don't know what of.
I think it was just supposed to be something like, thank you all for watching. Obviously, feel free to, you know, sign up to the YouTube channel and stuff. If you want to hear more from us in the future, feel free to let Liam at Magic of Wrestling know, and maybe we'll come back and talk.
Lauren's got
LK can tell her Greenwood story. We can get into some other bits.
Yes, we can have other female referees on.
Yes.
Make this the thing.
More people in, and then who knows what else we could talk about in the future.
Yes, get your questions. Get your questions in, because we only had like one person. And Liam. Sorry, Liam. And then us. We can ask each other questions. But yeah, like that'd be really good. And then obviously follow us on our social medias. Mine's a bit quiet at the moment because hiatus. But yeah. Anywhere that you find us, please follow and check us out.